Hey guys, yep, I'm doing this again. Now, my last video on unused content did indeed get a lot of positive reception, as well as a lot of people pointing out stuff I missed, so thank you so much, seriously. So many people commented saying how much they appreciated someone finally giving the Nicktoons series attention, and understanding a lot of things about it most don't, so again, thank you. I was legit hoping for that very reaction, and that's what's made me finally want to make this video. Now, I also want to insert that if you post a comment under the video telling me something I missed or an answer to a question I couldn't answer, I'll likely put it in the description or in the comments. So please do if you know something I don't. So, for this next video, I decided to cover a game series that if you've been on my channel for more than 2 seconds, you know just how much love I have for it. That would be the Spyro the Dragon franchise. Now, I know that it's been kind of under fire, pun intended, for quite a few years thanks to Skylanders, and if you know me at all, you know I happen to like that series too. And yes, I count that separately from Spyro. But I'll be putting that subject off to the side for a potential rant video sometime in the future. Now, I am not covering the original Spyro games, as many YouTubers have done videos on those already. Similarly to my Nicktoons Unite video, I'm going to cover games that I don't see enough people talk about. The Legend of Spyro Trilogy. I love these games so much, despite how edgy people think they are. Are they perfect though? No. No, they're not. But they played a major point in my childhood, as they're what inspired me to create a character that I plastered on here as my channel mascot, Voltara. Plus, I always had a love for the mythical creatures, especially dragons, and I'd always wanted to play a game where you could be one, after gaming became a part of my life after being introduced to Pokemon. Yes, I know, I'm gushing. So anyway, just pointing this out, I've been working on this video ever since Reignited was announced. Yeah, call it laziness, call it editing block, call it whatever. But I never intended for it to remain unfinished forever. So without further ado, unused content for the Legend of Spyro Trilogy. First off is the Game Boy Advance version of A New Beginning. This will be quick, as there's only about 2 things that have been found in this version worth mentioning. There's a secret file select which can be accessed by entering the following codebreaker code and then pressing select and R on the title screen. Using this, you can access a test level. You can use this while in a stage, but it will usually just corrupt the graphics. Being that this can be accessed on an emulator that my computer can run, I was able to get my own footage of it. These will be my first thoughts as I run through, looking around at what this test level holds. Now, I haven't played the entirety of the GBA version, so I can't say if this resembles any stages, but it seems like it'd be similar to the Plains levels. There are some wooden platforms you can jump on, as well as many characters from the game just kind of standing there with idle animations. You can't speak to any of them, though. As you keep going, the level cuts you off with a real nice rock wall, so you have to go back the other way. Going back the other way, there are some enemy turrets that you can beat the crap out of, should you want to. They also give you gems when defeated, like the others in the game, so there's that. There's 4 in total, and each one is from each section of the game. Not surprising in a test map. And that's it, really. That's all that's in there. So, time to move on. Onto the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube version of the game, and hoo boy do we got a laundry list. Starting off said list are a few debug displays that can be activated via cheat codes. The first code displays a build rate and info on the game's current frames per second. The second code displays various info about the game's movie files. In-game, it also seems to display some kind of debug graph. The third code displays Spyro's collision and angle. Alongside that is another level select code. It doesn't lead you to any test levels, sadly, but it actually unlocks a level select in the main and pause menu. So maybe the game was actually intended to have one? I say this because the one from the GBA had corrupted graphics, so it seems unintended for the final release. There also seems to be a cheat code that was unknown to players for a very long time, and it's a code for unlimited level up points, or experience, depending on what you want to call it. I'm hesitant to call this unused because the game has used cheats and this one just seems to be overlooked by players, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. The code is up, up, down, down, left, right, R1, L1, R1, and L1. It kind of reminds me of the Konami code now that I'm thinking about it. For those of you disappointed that I wouldn't be covering the older Spyro games, cheer up, because one of them is still getting mentioned in this video. Or 2. There is an unused graphic left in the game's files that seems to be either a placeholder or an earlier version of the game's title screen. Said title image bears a striking resemblance to the A Hero's Tale title logo. Literally the only difference is that A Hero's Tale was replaced with Quest on the banner. My guess is that this was possibly a prototype name for A New Beginning, but I don't know for sure. There are 3 other unused images. One is an unused UI splash image of classic Spyro, which seems to be ripped from the Season of Flame cover art. Another is of a white gem, which might have been used as a graphic for a gem counter, though in the final game, gems act differently and don't require a counter. Weirdly enough, this icon is actually from Crash to Insanity. In said game it was used as the clear gem icon, so thought that was kind of interesting. The last unused image is just a texture for a debug font that's never used. Looking at this, it seems that The New Beginning was originally meant to be more like the classic games with an unused gem counter and a title screen graphic resembling A Hero's Tale. Just seems like there's a lot of evidence for that. Moving right along here though, there is one piece of unused music, and it really caught my attention as it's actually the main menu theme from Dawn of the Dragon, which came out, obviously, a whole lot later. Though Dawn of the Dragon was known for having a lot of reused music, so I guess that's not really surprising when you think about it. It just has a few differences in effects and instrumentals. Which I'm a fan of this though, because I really like that song. Being that it's internally referred to as musicdemo.muse, it might have been used as a demo in the game at one point, or maybe it was meant to. Though I obviously can't say for sure. Here's a listen. Something I want to place as a side note, the end of the track seems to sound similar to the track played in the Spyro A New Beginning commercial. So maybe it was originally intended for that? I don't know, I just noticed it while listening to it that it sounds similar. Here's a comparison so you can judge it for yourself.
To unleash the true dragon within you. The Legend of Spyro.
There are a few pieces of unused text as well. Before I get to the final point, none seem to be that significant, but I'm sure y'all want to know about it. A final note for this version is that there are some unused fonts and files referring to alternate languages, though in the final game you can't change it. Onward to Eternal Night. Starting again with the GBA version, which in my opinion is the best version of it, there is a hell of a lot more than there was in the New Beginnings files. Starting off as an unused game over graphic. Pretty self-explanatory as it goes unused due to the game having unlimited lives, therefore this would not be needed. Up next is something that also went unused in the Nicktoons Unite GBA port, a cheat menu, or at least unused text referring to one. I know I'm kind of going through these a bit quickly, but there's not really much to talk about in regard to a lot of this stuff, and that trend continues with this unused Felmouth arena, or at least what seems to be an earlier version of it. This map has no enemies and no way of getting out once you enter. Up next, though, are two things which will require a lot of explanation. Two fairly large test levels. Special thanks to Rad Spyro for giving me permission to use their footage that you see on screen. As unlike the test room for A New Beginning, I was unable to access these rooms myself. As the level starts, you're dropped onto a set of fairly crude red platforms that made me want to make an overused paint joke, but I decided against it. It's been done to death. These act normally, but blue platforms which also appear in the room have ice properties instead, which kind of makes wonder if the red platforms had some fire element to them at some point, I don't know. Most of the level is pretty empty, but there are a few things worth noting. First off, there was a pair of birds. Riveting stuff, I know, but these will do something. Fly away when you get too close. Yeah, I know, but there's other stuff too. There's an off-looking bush that will move closer to Spyro, but only when you're looking away, and a switch which does pretty much the same thing as the one found in the Hall of Memory. Each time it's pressed, it will generate an enemy from the game, and then despawn it and replace it if you hit the switch again. The switch can cycle through every enemy in the game with the exception of bosses, though you can summon Scrag for some reason. So I guess he's not counted as a boss in the game's files? I don't know. One more note is that the music in the level is, I think, from the final boss room, though I don't know if that's because the stage was loaded over top that one or not. So I don't know if that's the actual music that's used in that room. I couldn't do it, but if you want to access the room, you have to change the value at this number to 38 on the map select screen. Then start any level. The second test level is... well, okay. This level can't really be played unless you hack some more due to collision not matching up with the graphics. Like, at all. But this level does hide some interesting secrets. Invisible water puddles are a good first sign, though despite Spyro being unable to swim, they don't seem to hurt him. Though again, unless you hack, Spyro kinda just gets halted at some point and you can't go anywhere. On the upper level is a random door, which you can open, and there's nothing behind it if you hack it open. The real kicker, though, which makes the music in this stage relevant, is that there is another door that Spyro can actually pass through, and upon doing so, the camera will pan revealing Cinder and Gall. Dialogue will then appear matching the scene between them in the game, but the game will soft lock when Cinder tries to reach Gall due to the fact that she's placed too far underneath him, and there's a wall in her way. If Spyro is hacked next to Cinder before she starts talking, he can actually fight Gall. He can be beaten pretty easily, though, due to Gall's attacks not working right. Final bit for the unused levels is that if you beat Gall in this way, you can access an alternate scene shown here. Apparently you can access this in a number of ways, but this is just one way to do it. I believe that it may have been left in as a placeholder for something, though I'm not really sure what. Whew. The last thing in this version is that there are 2 unused enemies, which you may have seen already in the test level footage. They're just palette swaps with broken graphics, so I think it's obvious as to why they go unused. Alright, now onto the console versions of Eternal Night. Once again, so much stuff. And we're starting with more hidden debug options, starting with another unused level select, which can be used to access test levels, though only in the European version as they were removed from the level select in the North American release. Activating this also enables dev cheats, which are different from the ones we can enable only in the fact that they are activated differently. Along with that are a set of codes which enables a debug graph in-game at all times, which seems to indicate what graphics are being loaded at any one time, unknown as to what the numbers mean though. The other codes activate a collision overlay and memory information. And yay! More unused graphics! Let's start with an unused title screen image. There's only a slight difference between this one and the final image, and here they are side by side so you can see it better. Though if you ask me, I think I prefer the one they didn't go with. Man, what is it with me in liking unused title images more than the ones they used in the final product? The other one is an unused version of the Russian logo for the game. The differences here involve a different text location for the word of, and the wrong sign being used for the last letter. Continuing on, we have more unused test levels. At first I thought I'd only find screenshots as that's all that was shown on the cutting room floor, but upon searching I did find footage. Credit to Ghosty on YouTube for uploading their exploration of the rooms. Now, there is so much freaking stuff in these test rooms that I decided that hearing me try to explain it all would be annoying and stupid. So I'm gonna show footage of each room and let you see it for yourselves. If you want to see the entirety of these rooms, I'm gonna have links in the description to the full videos so you can see them for yourself. Now, not only did I get permission to use their footage, but I was also able to ask them some questions about the video and how they gained access to the rooms. Stuff like that, and here's what they said. did mention that there is one room they weren't able to show, but they intend on making a video of it soon, which once uploaded I will link in a pinned comment below this video. As well as all of that, there's also some dev text. I don't have a clue on what a lot of this means, but it's always interesting to see what hides within the code of a game. I'd love to see if someone with a bit more knowledge on this can offer some explanation as to what this means. Or what it was for. Now this next one, tasks.text, looked like event triggers to me. Mentioning different moments where Spyro passes out and when you finish the elemental trials. There do seem to be empty spaces, however, making me wonder what might have been in those spots or if they were left empty for possible additions. Ignored enemies.text caught my attention here because it mentions convexity, mining moles, and cinder tier. This sounds like stuff from the previous game if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but what else would these be for? It does mention Ravage Rider, which is in the game, but I don't know, just got me wondering. Now, once again, bringing up Nicktoons Unite, like Attack of the Toybots, this game has so freaking many unused voice clips for Spyro. And also like that game, the lines are really cool and would have added so much to Spyro's character if used. Cause seriously, was I the only one who thought Spyro was bland as frick during these games? I digress.
Hey, wait up! Get back here! Where'd you go? This is awesome! I never knew. Thanks for the encouragement. What kind of sidekick are you? Don't worry, I'll get it. Yeah, maybe this flying thing ain't for me. How's that? No problem. Woohoo! Yes! Man, this flying thing's exhausting. Wow, I'm beat. I can barely stay afloat. Sparks, I'm about to pass out. Did I ever mention I was afraid of heights? Not good, not good! How the heck do I land? Coming in too fast. This doesn't look good. Incoming! Thanks, Mr. Obvious. Do you think I don't see her? Pipe down, would you? I know. You're not helping. Thanks for the encouragement. This is just what I need. I think I have the strength to go on. Phew. Ah, that's better. That hit the spot. Oh, yeah. I feel weak. One more hit and I'm done for. Hope I don't get hurt anymore. Oh, I'm sore all over. My throat feels a bit dry. I feel a bit drained. I don't have much fire left in me. Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh, I feel stronger. Look out, world! Awesome! Let's do it. Yeah! Ha! Yeah! Woo! Ah! You're toast. Take that! Hey, Sparks, you can come out now. You lose. Oh, yeah. Too easy. Woo! Yeah! Oh, I can't go on. It's getting dark. I just need a rest. Uh-oh. Nap time. This is too much. Ah! No! Ready? I guess I'll have to try harder. I can see what I have to do. I just need to get better at it. I need more practice. I'll try again. Almost had it. I'll try harder this time. Okay, I'm ready. This time for sure. All right, I should do better now. Okay. I guess I can only get better. I think I'll try a different strategy. Oh, that was excellent! That was great fun! Wow, I actually won! Awesome! Yeah! Come on, give me a bigger challenge. Wow, that was amazing! I feel like I can do anything right now. This is the best feeling in the world. How cool was that, Sparks? Check that out! That wasn't too hard. Well, maybe a little. I've done it! Oh, I made it. I did it! Now on to the next challenge. Whew, finally. How's that? Oh yeah! The Master! Woo! Wait till I tell the folks about this.
Dear Lord, why so many lines, people? It really is interesting to see all this get recorded and added, but then never get used. It's also a bit sad when you think about it. A final couple of notes to add are from the Nintendo DS version of Eternal Night, and it's actually the first version I played, and man, I remember struggling with the puzzles and the final boss being 8 levels of cheap. but overall it was not a bad version in my eyes. What it's got to offer are some test conversations, test levels, leftovers, and alternate cutscenes, but don't get too excited as most of them are merely mentioned and not shown in much of a way. The test conversations are as follows. The test levels are merely known by names Test Map, Swamp Test, and Temple Test. I swear, if anyone has footage of these, or screenshots, please let me know. I'd die to see these in action. And there are also some leftover fonts from another game I've created by Amaze Entertainment, Aragon, which I find very fitting. And as for the alternate cutscenes, basically they are versions of conversations with characters meant to be hidden, like Gaul in the beginning and the narrator, but instead of a blank portrait, they have programming to display the correct ones. Now, finally ending with my favorite game of the trilogy, and sadly it's a bit disappointing, as there only seem to be unused files for the DS version of the game. For some reason? It seems like no one has tried looking into the console version's files that hard, and besides some interviews and concept art that I question the legitimacy of, there's little to talk about. There have been people who have pulled the files for the loading screens and title screen without the on-screen text, which I think look pretty cool, so I'll show some of that, but here's what we have for the DS version. Quite a bit here, though. First are Unused Enemies. They are mainly recolors, and all but the armored rock rat have models and perform as expected if hacked into the game. Next is a model named Test Character. This gray box pushes Spyro or Cinder across the floor, and you can beat it up. After a while it will pop back up, but if you knock it too far out, it becomes almost motionless. Something more interesting, though, is that in the folder containing the cutscene images, there is an early sketch of this image. And finally, the last thing to end the trilogy besides a build date are 3 test levels. The first one is called Blank Level, and it's a very accurate name because it's a level comprised of pure darkness which seemingly goes on forever. Thrilling, I know. Who knew there was a legit, visualization of Malefor's heart in the game itself? It's like, forget the Malefor boss, that's the true boss. But, okay, I'm not funny. But, the second one is Test Level New Features, specific, and once again, thanks to Rad Spyro for letting me use their footage here. They freaking rule. This is a level with, yet again, no background, but actually has stuff in it this time. This one contains multiple elemental gates that can be found throughout the game, a moving platform, and a cluster of crystals. And also, the test character we previously discussed. It's possible to go all the way to the left here, but it strangely cuts off on the right side, though the gate there can still be activated. The final one is called Test Flight Level, and is an early version of the final flight sequence. Most enemies are absent, and whatever dragon you're playing as tends to leave the level boundaries at random points and occasionally turn upside down. The camera also tends to not work properly, and there's a lack of most any collision detection. When completed, the game returns you to the start of the level, and the game soft locks. And that seems to be it for Legend of Spyro unused content, though I would like to mention a few miscellaneous things here. Something I wish to bring up, this is kind of me interrupting my own narration here for a minute. In the Prima official player's guide for Dawn of the Dragon, there is a... I can't tell if this is what they meant for it to be, or what, but in the player's guide it has descriptions of the game's cutscenes, and I'm talking about the console version, not the DS version here. It says, for the Malefor's Lair cutscene, that upon entering Malefor's Lair, Spyro and Cinder find Malefor waiting for them. Malefor releases them from the chain that binds them and reveals that Cinder has been under his control throughout their trials, leading Spyro to Malefor's Lair. Does that sound odd to anyone else? Because I'm pretty sure in the cutscene he says this.
Tell me what?
How she lured you to our souls. How she tricked you into fleeing.
You're lying.
I find it peculiar how you chosen to know things. Making sure that you will free me, Spyro, and you will come back. And we have simply to thank for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what? Now, it could have just been that this entire time I didn't get this cutscene, because, to be honest, there's a lot of lines like that in Dawn of the Dragon that don't make any frickin' sense. But that insinuates that she was under his control through Eternal Night, not Dawn of the Dragon. So, like, am I the only one who's a little confused there? I found this randomly while reading through the player's guide, which I had just recently purchased, and I saw that, and I was like, wait, that makes actually more sense than the cutscene we got. Because, I mean, sure, there's been, like, no indication throughout the game that Cinder was under any kind of control, you know, until she goes all Dark Cinder and bleh. But, seriously, what? And, to be honest, even as a kid, without that knowledge, that cutscene never made sense to me, because, like, what? Cinder's obvious confusion matches the audience, because we're just like, what the hell is he talking about? Because in Eternal Night, the only reason she was at the Well of Souls was because she was kidnapped by the Dreadwings. Anyone else remember that? Anyway, one of Spyro's greatest mysteries. I could just be really stupid here and missing something, but I just thought I would point that out. I could not find this website, but I previously found a site saying there was an unused line of dialogue meant for Spyro and Malifaux, where Spyro straight up insults him to his face, which would have been awesome. And I have found a few interesting things myself when playing through the game, but that's better left for a separate video, and believe me, I completely intend on making a whole video dedicated to Legend of Spyro glitches at some point. So yeah, that's all I got to say. If I missed something, please let me know, as I am dying to know more about these games, especially about Dawn of the Dragon. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, my fellow dragons.